You mentioned Plato, and now this is
Yeah,
so important. Okay, so this is, I feel like these two gentlemen here, Plato and Aristotle, I mean, they
yeah.
obviously they knew each other, but can you just frame the work concept in light of these two figures? And is this an old thing? I mean, like, how old does this go back?
Um, well, I think the way that people do the metaphysics, or what's called the ontology of the musical work, um, adopted ideas about Platonism or the Aristotelian models, or different. They used these names to for positions like Platonism,
Mm.
as I don't think they have much to do with Plato or Aristotle. I regard Plato and Aristotle as remarkable thinkers of how to do philosophy. I mean, Socrates is walking around the world asking people, how do you become virtuous? And everybody thinks they have an answer. And he says, really, you think you know? It's sort of, it's the way that he engaged philosophy and the way that he promoted the forms as a constant alert against the what he called the rivers of muddy opinion is extremely interesting. But putting aside ancient philosophy, in the philosophy of music, it became very convenient for some philosophers to say musical works like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, they are abstract types of which performances are their examples. And as all examples must be, the closer they are to reaching the perfect ideal, the better the performance. And so, what it means to produce a perfect performance of a Beethoven symphony. And we all know that if everybody was just striving after some kind of mathematical perfection of a Beethoven symphony, interpretation would be a really boring enterprise. They just simply count, yeah, you got all the notes right, the rhythms accorded with the metronome markings, and everyone would say, but God, it was boring. I mean, this is really not what we want. So you have the Furtwängler's Beethoven and Toscanini's Beethoven and this Rattle's Beethoven. You have so many Beethovens, and we want interpretation to have much more substance and interest than merely precision or perfectibility of the example. And then Aristotelians said, look, we don't have these abstract types, we have norms and we have rules, and to guide us, we have types that are internal to the practice. And so you get a kind of Aristotelian model. And then people endlessly debate which model is right. My argument was that this modeling um, doesn't really, again, account for the historicity of the examples, because the history of interpretation of, say, Beethoven has changed drastically through the 19th century. What it meant to interpret a work, what it means, what happened to improvisational elements, what happened to the performance when the pianist or the conductor became more famous than the composer. So we'll have Toscanini's Beethoven might be more famous than Beethoven.